Some people call me Bismack, others call me Moses, others call me Amumpaire, but all those are my names. Amumpaire Bismack Moses is my name. And currently I'm one of the few travel journalists that we have in Uganda, the Pearl of Africa. But above travel, I'm also someone that has been in the entertainment industry, film, actor, producer, and I've done a few acting bits in some small and big projects. One of them is the Hostel series, where I acted as Brother Matthew, and I am about to bounce back in the film industry. But for now, let's talk travel journalism. Well, I don't know exactly for how long, but when I started, because it's a time when you feel like you're passionate, then you start preparing for it. I think I should say 9 years when I started travel journalism at UBC, and I did that for around 5 years. Then I was called at NBS, where I have banged it. I want to call it banged it for 4.5 years. That is approximately 9.5 years. Call it 10 years of travel journalism. And of course, the passion comes from way back. It is within the family, the culture of travel, the culture of trying to get to know about the history. But also travel is something that is motivated by within, when you really want to go out and see new things and move new places and adventure. I must say that something to do with travel and especially journalism, it is not as fun as people think If you do not have passion, you cannot sustain it. I began travel journalism when actually a few people thought it was not something that was worth getting into, especially if you had economical intentions. My intentions were not economy. My intentions were not economical. My intentions were not financial. They were motivated by passion, because first of all, most people like traveling. I didn't think about traveling and going to places for free, but I wanted to learn about new places and also tell the audiences out there about the new places. And the moment I started it, I got really bad that a lot of people didn't know about a lot of places. They didn't know how endowed Uganda was. And the moment I went out and showcased something, people got to know that, wow, where is that place? How comes I've not been to that place? Is that Uganda? For example, there's a time we went to Kalangala and we had the white sand, and people were like, wait, do we have white sand in Uganda? They all know that it's in Mombasa. We have a lot of these nice places in Uganda. Just like a colleague of mine was saying, we just lack proper exposure. And for this kind of travel journalism that I entered in, I also request everyone, at least any TV station, any radio, any newspaper, to have a segment about travel whereby they can showcase the different aspects that Uganda is endowed with. Because Uganda is indeed the true and justified Pearl of Africa, just like Sir Winston Churchill put it. Now, to mention about some of the iconic places that are in Uganda, I feel a bit biased because I've been to most of these places, and I feel like most people have known about these places, or these places have been promoted so much. But let me assume that some people do not know about these places, or have not heard so much about the places. There is a reason why. For example, Uganda is a Pearl of Africa. I don't want to mention about being home to almost 51% of the endangered mountain gorillas. 51% of the world's endangered gorillas are found in Uganda. Precisely, Uganda is a home to those gorillas. Few people know about this, and this number is likely to increase because when the UN declared declared Windi as a heritage site, they realized that actually the numbers are also increasing. So it's 51%. You don't know what is going to happen tomorrow. I don't want to mention about Murchison Falls. When the waters are so much, especially the month of March, like this month, and towards November, the waters the volumes are so high, and when you measure the forces that these falls have, they come out as the strongest in the whole world, the strongest waterfalls in the whole world. How many people know this? I don't want to mention that we have the Baha'i temple. Let me talk something culture. Baha'i temple. It is the only temple of the African continent. This is not a fact that has just happened now. This is a fact that came like even before Amin's time came in. It is a fact that was there. And there is a reason why the people of the Baha'i faith, the founders of the Baha'i faith, chose Uganda to have to host the only Baha'i temple. That reason is very clear. Uganda being the most friendliest country in Africa, and if it is in Africa, Africans are the most friendliest people in the whole world. That makes Uganda's personalities being the best in the whole world. There are quite a number of things. There's a lake. Many people know it as Lake Rutoto. I think it's getting a new name. That lake is in an African shape as you're moving towards Rubirizi. There is a justification that is symbolic in my perspective. Why do we have a lake that is an African shape? To me, that is very, very significant. I may talk forever, but I want to let you know that actually Uganda is a true, justified pearl of Africa. You need to travel this country to understand exactly what I'm saying. But maybe before I leave this point, let me mention this. The smallest church in the whole world was in Uganda, in West Nile. Rather in Nebi. Yeah, Nebi is in West Nile. But because some people thought that it wasn't right for Uganda to show, and maybe Uganda wasn't promoting this kind of uniqueness, some people decided to build the smallest church in US and another one in Pakistan. They decided so that they can also share some of that, because there's nothing unique. There's no rocket science in building a small church. But initially, the smallest church was in Uganda, where you have a priest and the person who's coming to attend church. That was something that is amazing. That, among other aspects, are the reasons why I think Uganda, my home, is the pearl of Africa. The effects of COVID-19, the pandemic, are universal, especially to the tourism industry. They are universal. All sectors have been affected. But let me mention something about the tourism industry. Actually, the effects of COVID, I want to say, they are both negative and positive. I want to assume the negative ones are obvious, because borders have been shut down and foreign exchange has been affected so huge. It has not happened like this in a very long while. So people have known that some of the things that can affect tourism, apart from wars and civil conflicts, we have pandemics which no one controls, which no one can easily cause. So families have been affected. People who benefit from tourism have been affected. Tourism there's a multiplier effect with tourism. It's not about the tour operator. You start with the person who pays that plane, you come, the tour guide who drives, they're using fuel, the fuel people who have the petrol stations pay taxes, it affects the economy. Then the person who's going the safari lodges, the tomatoes are bought from the person down there who has a garden. The porters who hold those people who hold the luggage for the tourists as the tourists are going to track those gorillas and the chimpanzees. There's a lot that COVID has affected, especially in the line of tourism and of course agriculture. But the positive aspect of it, I have always agitated for tour operators and safari lodges and accommodation facilities to come up with packages that benefit Ugandans. Every time you go to a safari lodge, every time you go to a certain place, these people are charging in dollars, and you're asking them, why dollars? We are in shillings. This is Uganda, and Uganda shillings is what works here. So for the first time I saw that happening when the international borders, inbound tourism was cut off. I saw tour operators now trying to come up with interesting and fascinating and captivating packages for Ugandans. So to me, I think around this time, Ugandans have traveled to these parts of Uganda because the tour packages are friendly, are customized to Ugandans, but also affordable to Ugandans. That, in my perspective, is a positive effect. it comes back to exposure. The aspect of promotion, the aspect of marketing is so crucial in any company or any country. There are many reasons why I think Uganda is slow. Uganda's tourism is slow, especially even as far as marketing is concerned. I don't want to sound so political, but I think the leadership has not seen tourism as so important as it should. Our president and other people are beginning to realize that tourism is actually such an important industry. Initially, that wasn't the case. Why? Agriculture has been the real thing. They have been promoting agriculture because Uganda's backbone, is supported by agriculture, and tourism has been left out. But because tourism has been supporting itself indirectly, that's when they've realized that actually they need to wake up. I'll mention something. You mentioned something about Rwanda promoting itself on Visit Uganda hashtag on the Arsenal t-shirts. Let me tell you, for those who don't know, this was initially a deal that was brought to Uganda. It was presented to Uganda Tourism Board. I'm saying this with facts and on record. This was first presented to Uganda Tourism Board, and because they couldn't easily get to understand the return on investment and after how long, the deal, before the people flew back, they got a consultant who advised them to push it to Rwanda, and immediately the president of Rwanda got it so quick, understood it so quick, and injected in the amount of money that was needed, negotiated and agreed and signed MOUs. Before you knew it, we are seeing Visit Uganda on the Arsenal t-shirts. Now, it is still on, and the effects actually are coming back. As I talk right now, the deal is still running, but the effects, the return on investment has already been got. Now, this is what I'm saying. It is about the mindset of some of the people who are in charge of some of these offices, and I think I don't want to blame them. I think they need to revise and maybe go for some refresher trainings to understand where the world is headed in as far as tourism is concerned. So exposure is really, really, really key. Tourism has a lot of aspects. There is business tourism, there is culinary tourism, people who travel just to eat food from different countries and different cultures. We have film tourism. There are quite a number of films, but let me talk about film tourism in this perspective. Film tourism means people move to different places to use those places as destinations. But in so doing, they are also visiting those places. If someone goes to film in a place, or maybe they want to film it in a national park, let's say Serengeti or Queen Elizabeth National Park, or name it, these people have to pay for some of those amounts of money to enter those parks. But in so doing, they are promoting those destinations. Now, it is an aspect that needs to be improved here in Uganda. And because this aspect was not well understood, I remember a certain movie, Queen of Katwe. A good percentage of that movie was filmed in South Africa. This was a local story by Ugandan storytellers, motivated by Ugandans, whose big faction was filmed in South Africa because the administrators in Uganda didn't grasp so quick. And we lost money. We did not only lose money, but we also lost some level of credibility, because the producers who produced Queen of Katwe were meant to recommend other people. It left us with a bad image, and that calls for us to improve some of the standards, especially the aspect of film tourism, because it is not only about even international. The filmmakers can go and talk to Uganda Wildlife Authority. They can meet Uganda Tourism Board. We have like a partnership in that line, because we have tried to push for that. And if it means to transport these people, because someone might have a good story that revolves around a certain culture, or a good story that revolves around a certain destination in national park, but they're going to be demotivated because they're not able to pay for the park entrance, or the distance is a bit of a challenge. So if Uganda Wildlife Authority can waiver the park entrance and Uganda Tourism Board helps in paying the transport, then these people can help and maybe sleep in a tent or in a backpacker, and before you know it, we have a concept, well thought concept of a movie coming out. Now 3, 2, 3, 4 people, 100, they produce these movies. We have enough content to talk about Uganda, and Uganda's tourism is booming that way. Well, in my perspective, if you look at Kidepo, to me Kidepo is Kidepo Valley National Park. It is a park that you feel, when you visit, you feel like you're outside of this world. It is one of my best places, and I will say number one. Then we have a national park called Maction Falls National Park, where you have the strongest waterfalls in the whole world, the entire world. That to me is the best, and it is the richest as far as wildlife is concerned. Very rich in wildlife. Then we have Mount Rwenzori. This is the largest block mountain on the African continent. It is the longest mountain, the highest mountain, with Margarita Peak in Uganda. It is a must-be destination in my perspective, and I believe many of you who have visited it have the same. Lake Bunyonyi, Uganda's deepest lake and the third on the African continent, is a must-be. It has to be on your bucket list. I can tell you, those who have been there know what I'm talking about, and if you haven't, I mean, what are you waiting for? Then we have, when you come to culture, you should actually come to Baha'i Temple. It's not only about the faith, but also the building, the way it is. Such an amazing thing that you can look out for. To culture, you need to visit Bwindi, Impenetrable National Park, where you see the Batwa, the shortest people. Very interesting species. These are brothers and sisters. I must say you have to visit them. But also when you're visiting them, you're looking at the gorillas, the endangered gorillas. These are our cousins, I must say. Then of course we have Chivale Forest National Park. These we share 98% almost DNA with these chimpanzees. You have to be there. And of course, not to mention, oh my God, the longest river in the world. People say about these other things, you know, it's not the longest, but you mean there's research, these are facts. River Nile, and the source of the longest river in the world being hosted here in Uganda. Wow, you need to go and know how it feels to be at the source of the longest river in the world. Oh my God, Bwindi Penetrable National Park. It is a World Heritage Site with endangered gorillas. It's a must-be place that you need to put on your bucket list. Quite a number, but for now, begin with those. To the tourism players, tour operators, and the safari lodges, I have one advice to the business people in that area. Domestic tourism is sustainable. I would like to request you, if there is a high season for inbound tourism, the foreign tourists who are coming around, it's okay for you to create your packages in dollars and to suit the package of the foreign tourists. But once it comes to that low season, be ready and adjust the prices and the packages for domestic tourists, and just know that domestic tourists, we are here. We're ready to visit these places. Just make it manageable for us, and people will come in numbers, because tourism is a game of numbers.